Today we're going to have to listen to the beautiful English. Okay, so setting a proper motivation, as the great the Tibet Kadamba masters say, two things very important: one at the beginning of the action, and one at the end of the action. At the beginning of the action is setting a proper motivation, and at the end of the action is dedicating the merits. So this is a common sense based principle. For example, like if somebody embarks on let's say you send your child to school, and with the motivation that this child will learn something, and eventually the child will become self-sufficient. And if the parents are more visionary or more thoughtful about community, or this child should study well, should be of greater service to the community, with that motivation. And then at the end, once the child completes the studies, then the parents and the children, so whatever they do, just see how. For example, let's say it may not really sound so the real in many cases, but with the Tibetans, like my elder generation, and like when they send the children, like my age, when they send the child, in their mind, believe it or not, this is something very different. In their mind, they send the child, they think that the aspiration, the motivation is that they shall go to school, they will learn something, eventually they serve His Holiness the Dalai Lama. This is only thought: serve His Holiness the Dalai Lama and serve the country, Tibet. So this is only thought that they have. Majority. It's not like, oh, so that my child will have a good life and then they can help me or not, but then they will lead a very successful life. No, this is never their thought. This is amazing. Believe it or not, you check with, okay, now my elder generation, they're very rare. But if you go there, you meet with these people, just ask them, what was the motivation that with which you sent your child? What were you expecting from your children's education, so forth? All will say the same thing, that I want this child to be educated and be of service to His Holiness the Dalai Lama, be of service to the nation. Full stop. Nothing to do with themselves, nothing to do, not even for the children. So this is the amazing. So this is exactly what we do in our own life, in your own ways, whatever motivation that you set, and finally, when you accomplish something, then what are you going to do with that? This is the question. That is the dedication. So start with the good motivation and end with the good dedication. So setting proper motivation for us and being together just for a few days, and let us try to make the most of our being together. Okay. So let us try to make the most of our being together, and by setting proper motivation and end dedicating virtues properly. So for setting proper motivation, three things in mind. First is the refuge field. Visualize those enlightened beings who are the source of inspiration for you with respect to cultivating universal compassion and a wisdom, the common sense wisdom of dependency, wisdom of emptiness. Okay, just think of these enlightened masters such as Bodhichitta and His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who is the living Buddha today, and all the enlightened masters. For example, you heard so many the times the name of the author here, the great teacher here, Lama Tsongkhapa. Just think of all these enlightened masters. So whosoever gives you inspiration with respect to cultivating universal compassion and the wisdom, just invoke these enlightened masters and imagine that they are looking at you with so much love and affection and embrace. And Bodhichitta field, for whom you are doing these things, and of course for yourself, and in the ultimate sense, to do the best thing for yourself is by doing the best for others. This is not a theory, this is not a story, this is not the the theological concept, but this is reality. Eventually, as we study about the Bodhichitta more in detail, we'll come to realize that this is the reality, that the more you do for others, your Buddha energy inside will be awakened more. So with this mind, think of your parents, and you may have difficulty with your parents. It doesn't matter. Your job is to transcend the ordinariness. This is the mark of the ordinary people, where you have a little bit of clash in your ideas, thoughts, and so forth. Instantly, you feel so much aversion towards the other person. This is usually what happens between the child and the parents. So, now we come here to learn how to transcend, how to go beyond the ordinariness, which means that anybody who is like a small child, and the reasons for conflicts, you feel compassion towards them. This is what we're going to learn here. So your parents, your children, and all of family members, and all the beings, human beings, animals, insects, hungry ghosts, god and goddesses, spirits, and so forth, all of them who are here in Dharamshala, in India, in your own country, in the entire world. Just imagine in the oceans, huge, massive oceans. Just imagine how many trillions of creatures are there. From the tiniest of the amoeba to the biggest of blue whales in the oceans, in the wilderness, the tiniest of the insects or the worms to the biggest of the elephants and so forth. And in the other world systems, the dinosaurs and so forth are there. Just think of each one of them and imagine that you are letting them to be with you, to take part in this program out of great compassion for them. And number three, the purpose of our being together here is to awaken the treasure, hidden treasure within us, to awaken this Buddha energy within us, so that you experience fearlessness and infinite happiness by invoking the most beautiful mind, most appealing mind of the Bodhichitta, the altruistic Bodhicitta, wishing to be awakened for the benefit of sentient beings, and the most fearless mind of the wisdom of emptiness, for the benefit of yourself and for the benefit of all the sentient beings. So with this mind, I request Omala to do the prayers.
Bottom of page 3. Enthused by great compassion, exhausted with the spell of the earth confused, to you the Buddha of Dhamma holy homage. Enthused by great compassion, exalting and Tibet House, to the spell of the earth confused, to you the Buddha of Dhamma holy homage. Enthused by great compassion, exalting and Tibet House, to the spell of the earth confused, to you the Buddha of Dhamma holy homage. Taking refuge in generating Bodhichitta. Sangye Choda.
Chunam lo janju badu dani jazu je, nage jinso gebe sonam je, dola benjir sanje dubara sho, sanje juda zoge jonam na, janju badu dani jazu je, nage jinso gebe sonam je, dola benjir sanje dubara sho. Sanje juda soge jonam no, chanju badu dani jabzu che, dage jinso yebe sonam ye, dola benjir sanje dubara jo. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and turn my light into the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and turn my light into the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. No separateness, no sameness. I prostrate to the Consummate Buddha, the Supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace, which is free of elaborations. The mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, which through the knowledge of all lead here, seeking pacification, complete peace. which through the knowledge of paths, causes, and migration achieves the aims of the world, and through the possession of which helps the doers expound varieties of teachings
The one who has transformed
into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings.
the
Teacher.
teachers of to view and manifestations. The one who has eliminated the replicas centralizations and is endowed with divine bodies to fast and the Brahman, who eternally shines forward the further noble libraries, to you the Buddha and manifestations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, creating the Buddha's presence.
I chant the matter of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings.
Yes.
Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham dathagato hyavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham dathagato hyavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham dathagato hyavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Taught by the Tathagata, the cessation courses as well is taught by the great seer. Profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear-lighted, non-composite. Such is the nectar that Dharma I have discovered. Finding no one to fathom this teaching, in silence I retire into words. Beyond utterance, thought, and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and has the nature of space. It is the object of apprehension of self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddhas, the three times obeisance, the forces of the Buddha's teachings. Opposite things are impermanent. All contempt things are the nature of suffering. All phenomena are nature of emptiness and selflessness. Transcendent sorrow is peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is the source of everything wholesome. I go for Hashem the Guru. By the Samradwabin Dharma of Dharma, you liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and keep teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of years. The Buddha does not watch the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. Their spiritual realization are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of suchness that the beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all bewildered mysteries gloom.
If you are attached to this life,
You are a spiritual practitioner. If you are attached to samsara, you have no Buddha. If you are attached to your self-interest, you have no Bodhichitta. If there is grasping, you do not have the view. Page 14.
page 14. Praise to the founder,
The transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the full destroyer, the completely perfected, full awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, Lord of the world, supreme God of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you the completely and fully awakened one, and the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakti clan, I prostrate, make offerings and go for refuge. When, O supreme amongst humans, you are born in this earth, 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise, then I prostrate. With pure bodies, so pure, with motion like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, one of the best Lord to you prostrate. With a supreme sign, space like a spotless moon, colored gold to you I prostrate. Rusty like the three worlds are not, incompatible wise one to your restraint. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you the Tathagata restraint, the purity that frees one from the attachment, the virtue one free from lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to the Dhamma that pacifies. Qualified all by the realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you the Sangha appreciate, do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions, subdue your mind thoroughly, this is a teaching of Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud, see condition, things as such. Through this merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the four falls, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, better by the ways of aging, sickness, and death. Page 29.
I prostrate to the area of the Puja. Thus did I hear one time.
The Buddha was dwelling on the mountains of Bodhichitta mountain in Rajgir, together with the great community of monks and the great community of Bodhisattvas. At that time, the Buddha was absorbed in concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound illumination. Also, at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound illumination of wisdom and beheld those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then, through the power of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara: how should any child of lineage who wishes to practice professional wisdom train?
He said that and it was the best of the language any son of lineage or daughter of lineage who wishes to practice the activity of profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this: correctly and deeply coupled with those five aggregates, also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form, emptiness is no other than form, form is also no other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, properties of practice and functions. Sharapuja likewise full of activity, without characteristic, unreduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, nor deficient, nor fulfilled. Sharapuja therefore emptiness, because no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no condition, and no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no body, no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no object attachment, no feeling. There is no eye element and soul, often including no mind element and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no distinction of ignorance and soul, often including no aging and death, distinction of aging and death. There is no suffering, origination, cessation, and harm. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Sharapuja, therefore, because there is no pain, Bodhisattvas rely on the dwelling of perfection of wisdom. The mind without alteration and thus without fear, having completely passed beyond error, may reach the end point of nirvana. All Buddhas dwell in 3 times, also manifesting completely awakened, unsurpassable, perfect, and complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequal, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as truth, sits in the whole. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is Ayata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha. Sharapuja, the Bodhisattva master, has trained in profound perfection of wisdom like that. The Buddha arose by concentration and commended the Bodhisattva master by having a perfect saying, it is like that, it is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom just as he really needed, even the Tathagata is rejoiced. The Buddha having thus spoken, the venerable the Bodhisattva master those surrounding the anxiety of the world of God's humans, souls, and others, they overjoyed by the greatest.
Teta Om Gate Gate Paragate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Gate 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 Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha.
May they now take this to transform. May they be may they be may they may all negative forces opposed to our be completely pacified. May the host of 80,000 obstacles be pacified. May we be separated from problems and conditions harmful to the Dharma. May all enjoyments be in accord with the Dharma. May auspiciousness and perfect happiness be taken together. Page 35. With a determination to achieve the highest aim for the benefit of all sentient beings, which surpasses even the wish to finish, may I hold them dear at all times. Whenever I interact with someone, I view myself as the lowest among us all, as if I discovered a jewel treasure. When others, out of jealousy, treat me wrongly with abuse, slander, and scorn, may I take upon myself the defeat and rather to others' victory. When someone whom I have helped or in whom I place great hopes mistreats me in extremely hurtful ways, I regard it as a beneficial teacher. In brief, may I offer benefit and joy to all my mothers, both directly and indirectly. May I quietly take upon myself all hurts and pains of my mothers. May all this remain undefined by the same mundane concerns, and may I recognize in all things as illusions, devoid of clinging, be released from bondage. Lamas and Karpa's Lama dedication, verse 1. For my two collections lies the space that I have from working with Equalizing this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha of all of those whose minds wisdom I have defined by universe. The practice, insert in the human prayers, the extraordinary aspiration of the practice of Samatha. I bow down to the youthful Arya Manjushri, you the Buddhas, the lights amongst humans, grown to freedom in the present, past, and future, in the worlds of 10 directions, to all you with body, speech, and sincere mind, I bow down. With the energy of aspiration for the Bodhisattva way, with a sense of deep respect, and with as many bodies and atoms of the world, to all you Buddhas visualized as real, I bow down. When every particle of Buddhas and others as particles of each amidst the host of Bodhisattvas, I am confident the sphere of all phenomena is entirely filled with Buddhas in this way. With infinite ocean of praise for you and oceans of sound from the aspect of my voice, I sing the breathtaking excellence of Buddhas and celebrate all of you Siddharthas. Beautiful flowers and regal garlands, sweet music, scented oils and parasols, sparkling lights and sublime incense, I offer to you victorious ones and Buddhas. Fine dress and fragrant perfumes, sandalwood powder, heat high as mountain dew, all wondrous offerings in spectacular way, I offer to you victorious ones. With transcendent offerings, peerless of heart, with profound admiration for all the Buddhas, with the strength of conviction in the Bodhisattva way, I offer and bow down to all victorious ones. Every harmful action I've done with my body, speech, and mind, overwhelmed by attachment, anger, and ignorance, all these I offer laid there before you. Fill my heart rejoice in all the life of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in 10 directions, of solitary realizers, those still training, and those beyond, and of all ordinary beings. You are the bright lights of the world in 10 directions, who have attained the Buddha's omniscience through the state of awakening. All you who are my guides, please tell the supreme real of Dharma. With palms together, I earnestly request you who may actualize Mahāyāna. Please stay with us for eons, numberless as atoms of the world, for the happiness and well-being of all wanderers in samsara. But next time we would like to manipulate it by making prostrations, offering, confessing, rejoicing and resting with the Buddha's dainty. I now dedicate all this for the full awakening of all beings.
Mantra offering, page 40. This ground, adorned with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the 4 continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this is a Buddha field and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure land. O Sajibu Gejo Vashemendo Tam Sangye Shendo Mete Buvayin Chogun Nam Da Shenai Chubarai Sho.
May I be blessed that my mind is directed towards the Dharma. May I be blessed that my Dharma is on the proper path. May I be blessed that the path is free of flaws. May I be blessed that the flaws are seen in the light of exalted wisdom. The 4 namas of Venerable Bhikshu Mahasattva. Become utterly frustrated with the ignorance that grasps the true existence. Please bless me with the genuine renunciation. Seeing all aspects of this matter is viciously repulsive. Please bless me with the mind stream overflows with the precious Bodhichitta that cherishes others more than myself. Please bless me to have an immaculate experience of the wisdom of emptiness that doesn't see even an atom of intrinsic reality, on the basis of understanding how things come into being by dependent origination through mere conditioning. Please bless me that our mind stream overflows with the precious wisdom of the non-duality and emptiness. Idam Guru Radha Mendela Vanira Teyami. Okay, first we will recite the mixed mantra meaning first, followed by the chant. You are Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of non-referential compassion, and Manjushri, master of flawless wisdom, as well as Vajrapani, disturb hosts of demons without exception. Tsongkhapa, crown jewel of the sages of the land of snows, lost on top by at your feet and make prostrations. Me me tsave te je re se te me kende voim bo jambe yang Kanjen kebe tso ye tso kaba lo sa tabe sham la so me me zave te je
Jerese Kebe Ombo Jambe Yang Kanjen Kebe Zoye Zokaba No Satabe Shamla Sovane Jerese Kembe Ombo Jambe Yang Hanjen Kembe Zoye Zokaba Lo Satabe Shamla Sovande. You are Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of non-referential compassion, a Manjushri, master of flawless wisdom, as well as Vajrapani, destroyer of hosts of demons without exception, Tsongkhapa, crown jewel of the sages of the land of snows, Losang Taba at your feet, I make prostrations. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Omar. Thank you. Okay, next is generating the mode of consummate yoga. So before we read the foundation of all good qualities, we laid down the preliminary practices, and then with the foundation of all good qualities, we created the roadmap to awakening your hidden treasure. And now we have to walk on the path, based on this roadmap. So how to walk on this is done with 4 points. 1, shamatha meditation. Number 2, renunciation. Next, bodhicitta. Next, wisdom of emptiness. And then we take the aspiration bodhisattva vow. That makes a complete practice of. So if you do this on a daily basis till our last breath, that is the greatest of the meaning. And this is how we proceed. We can expect Gade, Para, Sam Gade, Bodhi Soha to happen. And then eventually you see that. And most likely, if you continue like this, if you can sustain this practice, then within I won't say that in 1 or 2 years you'll have the experience. No, it'll not happen. But for sure, within a span of like 5, 10, 15 years' time, you'll feel something which you have never experienced before, something so precious, so rare, and yet you start to feel it. Otherwise, generally speaking, what happens is that as a young child, you are innocent, not too innocent. You're innocent. Because why you are not too innocent is because that you have something brought from your past life. But overall speaking, your mind is not madly influenced by this life. So then as you grow older, from age like say the age 2, 3, 4, influence is mainly from the past life influence. Small children, how they behave very different within the same family. Very differently, behaves very differently. Some very compassionate, some very selfish, and some deceiving, cunning. They're different children. So these are all from this will tell you what the past life is like. You can see the past life of the person. Then by the age 9, 10, 11, 12, then will be started to be influenced by this life more and more. And by the time you reach age 20, and then they say, almost like you know what the world is. But you don't know how to trick the world. You don't know how to manipulate the world, but you know the world. Then by the age 30, you go into the world, you step into the world, and you see the world, people deceiving you, cheating you, and then all forms of wrong things happen, and then you start to defend yourself. You don't know how to defend. No wisdom. Ignorance is there. You don't know how to defend. So the best thing is do how the others do. In Rome, do as the Romans do what they do. So you also start cheating, bullying others, exploitation. These things start to happen, and then one becomes more and more cunning. Only if you come in contact with these teachings, and then you're very serious with these teachings, then you will not go in that direction. And but some people, exception, some although they don't come in contact with these teachings, naturally they behave in a very in incredibly great principle of the integrity, principle of compassion, principle of the understanding, no just no not being judgmental. So these things happen in few cases where they pass the practice of the past from past lives. Otherwise, generally, we tend to flow in the bad current. So these practices are so deep precious. But this mind, within the span of, if you continue like this, if you sustain yourself with these practices, within the span of like maybe 10, 15, 20, you see that there's something is coming from inside, which is so beautiful, which you don't see within yourself the earlier 30, 40 years. And then you don't see this much in outside also, and that you see that it's growing inside, it's blossoming inside. Then you realize that this is a benefit of the practice, and then you will understand what's the meaning of gade para samgate puriso. Okay, so with this mind, 5 minutes first, 5 minutes of shamatha practice. Okay, ready? Okay, thank you. Next, renunciation. Renunciation based on the practice of the four seals. Okay, so today we'll do the guided, and tomorrow let's try without being guided. So, which means that today, whatever, however, in the manner in which the guidance is given, instructions are given, you try to remember these so that tomorrow you try to see if how much you can follow the instructions on your own without having to depend on somebody else. Ready? Renunciation is to renounce our miseries, is not to renounce our happiness. To renounce miseries, we need not to renounce the causes of the miseries. Buddha taught, Ye dharma hetu prabhava. All these phenomena arise from causes. All these phenomena, particularly referring to all the composite phenomena. All the composite phenomena, they should necessarily come into being by depends on the causes. And what the causes are is taught by the Tathagata, and which Nagarjuna explained in 5 steps, which we already learned. Ceasing karmic afflictions is nirvana. Karmic afflictions arise from conceptualization of inappropriate attention, which in turn arises from the elaboration of self-grasping ignorance, and the elaboration ceases through the wisdom of emptiness. So based on that, we know that the miseries, they arise from contaminated karmas, afflictions, the gross afflictions, and the subtle afflictions such as inappropriate attention and self-grasping ignorance. And how to stop these. And finally, to cut the root of all the miseries is to cut the ultimate cause, which is ignorance. And within ignorance, the Buddha identified several layers, and the two have to go step by step to reach to the final ignorance. For this, Buddha identified the 4 of the levels of ignorance. Ignorance misconceiving impermanent phenomena as permanent. Ignorance misconceiving miseries as happiness. And the ignorance misconceiving impure things as pure. And finally, the ignorance which misconceives the selfhood of selflessness as of selfhood. In other words, ignorance misconceives the dreamlike nature of phenomena as absolutely real, as independently real, objectively real, not like a dream. So how to get rid of these 4 levels of ignorance? The Buddha taught the 4 seals. And of course, the first 3 seals deal with eradicating 4 levels of ignorance. And the 4th seal is the resultant state. What the result is going to be like if you exterminate the 4 kinds of ignorance. So the first, as I went to the first one, first ignorance, Buddha taught the first seal, all composite things impermanent. And composite things which are composed of directional, the material parts, and composed of temporal parts in time. But if it's composed of these 2 things, should necessarily be undergoing impermanence, undergoing changes. And this impermanence is of 2 kinds, gross impermanence and subtle impermanence. Gross impermanence, impermanent phenomena whose continuum terminates. For example, our youth, the beautiful days in the past. It's so important for us to contemplate on the gross impermanence first, followed by the subtle impermanence. For the gross impermanence, ultimately we need to think about the impermanence of death, that the death is inevitable, this is what is bound to come. Likewise, impermanent, think of any other phenomena, any other composite phenomena. Your youth, once upon a time, beautiful days, they are now no more, and gradually white hairs are coming one by one, indicating that your youth is over. And beautiful sunshine, beautiful sunset, and the waves and the oceans. and beautiful moments of being together with your friends, they're all gone. If you don't believe in this, think of those people 200 years ago, 300 years ago in the past. Where are they now? There were people who are of your same age as yours, older than you, younger than you. Where are they? They're all gone. Whether the aspirations or ambitions are fulfilled, not fulfilled, they're all gone. This is reality. And it's not that we are lucky, that they are unlucky. No, it's a matter of time. 100 years or 200 years down the line, 100 years down the line, there may be 1, 2, or maximum 10 or something people left who are just newborn today, and 100 years later they may have survived. Maybe a few handful, and the remaining are gone. But for sure, with 150 years, no one will be alive. That's for sure. Not even a single person out of the 8 billion human beings will be survived then. This is reality. Okay. So, whether failing to understand this, people be so obsessed with the money, power, relationship, property, and so forth. So obsessed. Of course, we have to depend on these, but it doesn't mean that obsession is the answer. Obsession means that you don't realize that they're impermanent. Yet, one day we are bound to meet with this impermanence so evidently, and then you'll be shocked. Yes, you'll be paranoid. That's too late. Wise people can think of things far ahead of time. It is for this reason that we go to the old fortresses, ruins, and so forth, and we see. Think of that. These are not just for sightseeing. It's a reminder for us that once upon a time there was a very powerful person called the pharaoh, the kings, monarchs, and so forth. And where are they? They're all gone. Just think of this. And they had celebrations, parties in the kingdom, in the palaces. Where are they? They're all gone. It's for this reason that the Buddha taught that whatever gathers disperses, whatever is accumulated is exhausted, and youth is followed by old age, and the health is followed by illness. And what is born dies. This is what the Buddha taught. And the Buddha was asked, the Tathagata Buddha, is it true that whosoever is born will die? The Buddha said, yes. And the second question, is it true that whosoever dies will take birth? Buddha said, only those people who detached themselves, who eradicated the attachment and the ignorance, they will not be reborn. They are freed. Those who are not freed from the attachment and the ignorance, they will come back in samsara again. So keeping this mind that our unnecessary obsession, because of which the meaningless stealing of time will all be stopped, and your life will be much, much simpler, much, much happier, much, much more beautiful. This is gross impermanence. So important for us to contemplate on this. Whatever the evident changes that you see within the span of 10 years, 20 years, so forth, is possible only if there's change happening on the subtle level, known as the momentariness. In short, all composite phenomena should necessarily undergo momentary changes. What does it mean by that? Say you, as somebody in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, you've been changing. This look at just imagine what you were like when you were age 1 and what are you today. Look at the difference. And this difference, it did not happen overnight. It happened over the years. Year by annually, this change has been happening. And the change that you see within the span of a year is possible if the change happen on a monthly basis. The change you see on the monthly basis is possible if change happen on the daily basis, hourly basis, minute by minute basis, second by second basis. Yes, the change that happens on a second by second basis is quite visible. And then change that you see, even what the change you see within a second is possible only if this change happens on millisecond or 1 second split into 1,000 times. So there, the change is so fast. This is exactly how your body changes. This is exactly how your mind changes. This is exactly how the parents, the children, husband, wife, the food that you eat, the house that you live in, the car that you drive, the world that you live in, the whole universe is changing so momentarily, so fast. Yes, I can understand that. It's quite scary to think of this. It's good if sometimes we can do a retreat on this. Just keep contemplating this and see what is the mental reaction to this cognitive awakening of the impermanence, subtle impermanence of the complex phenomena. So with this we get a feeling that as well like we are thrown into a very fast moving train. You could hear the very fast moving, the sound of the fast moving train, screeching sound. Yes, it's very scary. The faster the train moves, the more the fear. Why? Because we don't know where the train is taking us. If the train, and then who decides the train, which direction the train goes? By train driver. If a train driver so more, no doubt will take you to a picnic spot. But if it's a terrorist, will take you to a slaughterhouse. Yes. In our case, it's a mind which is a train driver. And this train driver, the mind per se, is nothing wrong, but it is under the dictate, under control of the two demons. The worst of contamination, which is ignorance, self-grasping ignorance, supported by the demon self-centered attitude. As long as we are under the sway of these two, we'll only experience miseries. This is what the Buddha indicated as all contaminated things are suffering nature. And suffering nature is of 3 kinds. Manifest suffering, suffering which is manifest suffering, which everybody identifies, and a single such a tragedy is good enough. Tragedy in the form of miseries is good enough to nullify all the past experiences of the joys, merriments, festivities, birthday parties, and so forth. And all these will appear as so hollow, shallow, meaningless, and grim in the face of one momentary experience of the acute tragedy, the pain. Loss of near and dear ones is good enough. Just one the incident is good enough to make you discover the reality that all what we're enjoying and celebrating, these are all just so shallow and meaningless. Yes, this is what the Buddha indicates. All contaminated things are of suffering nature and suffering change. When we all mundane happiness, any mundane happiness to that, okay. In all, there's nothing wrong with this. The only problem with this is that this is a bait. We should be aware that this is a bait. And on this basis, be watchful, be careful that you don't fall under the prey. Don't fall as a prey to this bait. Yes, you need to enjoy your sense of enjoyment is required for your body growth, for your body sustenance. But at the same time, enjoyment per se is not a problem. The problem is attachment to this. It steals your time and it lures you from thinking that this is what the world is a divine. And then, meanwhile, you keep growing. Meanwhile, the other negative destructive emotions are festered. For example, like the joy that you feel, if you see that there's a threat from others, you feel anger, you generate anger towards this hostility and so forth, and which really destroys virtues and which really destroys you to accumulate so much of negative karma and then again suffer a very vicious cycle. Then finally the pervasive condition suffering. The suffering which is the mastermind of all these miseries, which does not allow you to get out and then continue to the unseen, continue to create the factors for you to have these two the kinds of suffering, and that the suffering will change. It lures you, suffering. It really takes you takes you down into the hell, the agonizingly painful experiences. Okay. Yes, I understand it. It's very painful. So, the 2024, it stopped on its own. When will these stop? They will never stop unless until you put a conscious effort. What kind of effort is required? So, for that, they check the root cause and the effort to counteract this root cause. What's the root cause? Root cause is the ignorance, self-grasping ignorance. So the effort naturally should be the wisdom to see the emptiness of objective reality, to see everything like a dream. Or what is that wisdom? Wisdom, by the very definition, is a discerning mind whose apprehension of the object tallies with reality. What's the reality? The reality is what the Buddha indicated as the third seal. Everything is the nature of emptiness and selflessness. What is meant by everything nature, emptiness, selflessness? Okay, still, we're not into this emptiness yet. Just imagine that, okay, as per what I've learned, is that everything is like a dream. Just imagine you are so scared of being chased by the ghost dream, and you are truly scared, and finally you think that you fall and the ghost almost grabbing you, and you thought you know I'm dead. The moment you say, I'm dead, your mother wakes you up and you realize that it was just a dream. It was just coming from my mind, not really from the object. Objectively, it's empty. The moment you discover that, a great relief comes to you. This is exactly what we should be realizing. The Buddha taught everything's like a dream. Wake up from the sleep of this ignorance, and then you will see that all your fears of samsara drops. To know that everything's like a dream. Just imagine that I'm discovering that everything's like a dream, nothing as objectively real. Okay, this is the meaning of everything's nature, emptiness, selflessness. Wow, that's amazing. But what is the benefit of this practice? Yes, just as this, I wake up to discover that the dream goes is like it's dream, it's not real, and relief comes when I discovered that all my sorrows, all my miseries, they're also like dream, the empty of object reality, all this will dissolve to experience the absolute peace. This is what the Buddha indicated as transcending sorrow is absolute peace. Just imagine that you experience the state of waking up from the sleep of ignorance, and all your sorrows are transcended, dissolve. Okay, generate very strong aspiration. May I forever experience this emptiness, wisdom emptiness, where all my sorrows are transcended. That is the actual understanding of the renunciation. Stay in this experience for a while. Okay, now we'll slowly move to the Bodhichitta practice based on the four immeasurables. You ready? Okay, let's move to the Bodhichitta practice. For the Bodhichitta practice, in group, usually I do the four immeasurables, and when you're on your own, you can practice the two methods. Sevenfold cause-effect method to generate bodhicitta, and a method of equalizing and exchanging self for others. Okay, ready? For the Bodhichitta practice, we truly need the blessings of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Otherwise, this experience we've never attempted. We never even knew the existence of such a beautiful experience. So we require incredible support of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who actually experience that so profoundly. And as I said yesterday, that these practices, for some of us, it may sound very superficial, and you may not like to do that because that what we are saying and how our mind naturally thinks these two just go in a divergent direction. So you may see this very superficial. Yes, this is the domain of the practice. Otherwise, why do we have to practice if it is naturally occurring? So it's like practicing music. A child who have no concept of how the music works and try to mimic the teacher, only noise comes out. So keep doing that, and eventually beautiful music comes out. This is the meaning of the practice. Okay, ready? Immeasurable loving kindness. How good would it be that all my dear mother sentient beings are endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. And the causes of happiness primarily consisting of the most beautiful mind of the Bodhichitta, Altruistic Bodhicitta, wishing to awaken one's hidden treasure for the benefit of all dear mother sentient beings. And the most fearless mind of the wisdom of emptiness to see that everything is like a dream. May all my dear mother sentient beings be endowed with happiness and the cause of happiness. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear mother sentient beings are endowed with happiness and the cause of happiness. The Buddha's Bodhisattvas witnessing that you're making such a courageous commitment, and they're intense happy and proud of you, like the mother after all these many years of raising children with great hardship. Today, the eldest daughter just aged 12 and the eldest son aged 11. Two of them come to the mother, telling the mother, "Mom, please take rest. You have done everything for us. We know how much you love us. We also love you. And now we're grown up. We'll take care of all the siblings." And the mother could not believe her eyes and ears. This is exactly what all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are feeling. So with this intense love and affection, the pride that they feel, invoke their compassionate minds to ascend for the nectars and very soothing lights towards you and all ultimate sentient beings. Their mere touch of the nectars with the bodies beings yours instills in all happiness and the cause of happiness in the minds of sentient beings yourself. And you witnessing such a miracle is happening to all of them as sentient beings. You're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sign of the relief. Immeasurable compassion. How good would it be that all my dear sentient beings are freed from the suffering and the causes of suffering. Causes of suffering primarily consist of self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude, and the offshoots in the form of inappropriate attention, afflictions, contaminant comments. May all my dear sentient beings be freed from suffering and the cause of suffering. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear sentient beings are freed from suffering and the cause of suffering. The Buddhist Bodhisattvas, witnessing the making such a courageous commitment, the intense happiness and proud of you, this pride and happiness invoke their compassionate minds to send forth nectars of soothing lights towards you and all the sentient beings. Their mere touch of lights and nectars with the bodies beings yours, washes of all the miseries and the cause of miseries from the sentient beings yourself. And you witnessing such a miracle is happening to all the demonstration beings. You're intense happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sigh with relief. Next, the immeasurable joy. How good would it be that all my dear ascension beings are never separated from happiness and the causeless happiness that they're endowed with. May all my dear ascension beings never be separated from happiness and causeless happiness that they're endowed with. I will take the responsibility that all my dear ascension beings are never separated from happiness and the causeless happiness that they're endowed with. The Buddha's Bodhisattvas witnessing that you're making such a courageous commitment, the intense happiness and proud for you. This pride and happiness invoke their compassionate minds to send forth nectars of very soothing lights towards you and all them ascension beings. The mere touch of lights and nectars with the bodies beings yours stabilizes the happiness and causes the happiness that beings are endowed with. And you witnessing such a miracle is happening to all of them ascension beings. You're intense happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sigh with relief. Next, immeasurable equanimity. How good would it be that all mighty ascension beings are freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment towards some and aversion towards others, and instead abide in the great state of equanimity, embracing all other dim ascension beings with love and affection, leaving none aside. May all my dim ascension beings be freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment towards some and aversion towards others. I'll take the responsibility that all my dim ascension beings are freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment towards some and aversion towards others. The Buddhist Bodhisattvas witnessing that you're making such a courageous commitment, like the mother after all these many years of raising children, and today the eldest son and the eldest daughter come to the mother, tell the mother, please take rest, you have done everything for us. We know how much you love us. We also love you, and you have done everything for us. We are now grown up. We'll take care of all the siblings. And the mother couldn't believe her eyes and ears with so much joy and happiness. It is exactly what happens to all Buddhist Bodhisattvas. So imagine the love and affection and the joy and the pride that they feel invoke their compassionate minds to send forth nectars for sweetening lights towards you and all them ascension beings. Their mere touch of lights and nectars with the bodies in yours, the bodies of the beings in yours, frees the beings from the biased attitude of excessive attachment to some and aversion towards others, and instead make them abide in the great state of equanimity, embracing all other dim ascension beings equally, leaving them aside. And you, witnessing such a miracle is happening to all of them ascension beings, you're intense happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sigh with relief. Underscoring all the 4 immeasurables is unconditional love towards all the beings. Stay in this experience for a while. And this unconditional love, this is the foundation for you to generate Bodhichitta, which in turn is the main stem for you to become enlightened, to awaken the hidden treasure within us, that you experience fearlessness and infinite happiness. Amazing. With folded hands, we'll make a Bodhichitta commitment 3 times together. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear sentient beings. Okay, now slowly transform this beautiful mind of the Bodhichitta, the most beautiful mind that possibly exists in the universe. Slowly transform this mind into a spotless, clean moon disk, horizontally sitting with the heart. Okay, that's amazing that you made such a courageous commitment to become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings. But remember, no matter how much you squeeze a handful of sand, no oil comes out. Yes, I know that. I'm not like a handful of sand, I'm like a handful of sunflower seeds, squeezing which oil does come out. But if this were the case, if you think you have the Buddha nature, the hidden treasure within you, how come that it's not awakened since time immemorial till today? Yes, I know that. It's all because that till date, I'm being deceived by the two demons, self-grasping, ignorant, self-centered attitude. And now I thought that these two are the best of my friends, and today to discover that these two are the worst demons. They are so cunning, always come in the facade of my best of friends. Now I'm disillusioned to discover that they are the worst of the demons, worst of the terrorists. Okay, what are you going to do? I'm going to put effort to exterminate these two demons. How? By introducing very powerful counter, the powerful the remedy. What is that remedy? The non-dual wisdom of both, the wisdom of emptiness. What is that like? Let's quickly retreat the experience of emptiness the way we did as the third of the four seals of the Buddha's teachings, that everything is the nature of emptiness, selflessness. Or you just imagine that just you wake up from the sleep, the ignorant, it is the wake up from the conventional dream of the dream ghost chasing you, and to the moment you wake up to discover that the dream ghost was just empty of object reality, it's purely subjective, empty of object reality, all your fears dissolve. Likewise, just imagine that you wake up from the state of ignorance to discover that everything that I am, that I'm experiencing, encountered with, they're all like dream. And all the fears drop. Stay in 6 minutes for a while. Okay, slowly from they transform this most fearless mind of the wisdom of emptiness into a spotlessly clean, thumb-sized white vajra, vertically sitting on the moon disk at her heart. Okay, now you have the moon, which is the conventional bodhicitta, which will guarantee to exterminate the self-centered attitude, and Vajra is symbolic of the ultimate bodhicitta, which will guarantee to exterminate all the mental defilements, both afflictive obscurations and the counter obscurations, thereby letting your the seed of awakening, seed of hidden treasure within us, the Buddha within us, to be awakened fully, that experience total fearlessness and infinite happiness. Amazing. Meanwhile, let us not forget that your parents, your children, your family members, and all sentient beings are suffering. Yes, generate very strong compassion to them. And this compassion invokes the Vajramuni in the heart to multiply infinite number of times. Share one set of the Vajramuni at the heart of a mother, one set with a father, one set with each one of family members, including children, one with each of the beings, the human beings, animals, insects, hungry ghosts, god and goddess spirits, here in India, in your own country, in the entire world, including the oceans and the wilderness, and the entire Milky Way galaxy, and in the entire universe. Everyone has a share of the Vajramoon from which you so generously shared. Okay, with this mind, let us turn to page 50. Page 50 to take the aspiration Bodhisattva vow. Okay, meanings, we know that. Now let us recite this by contemplating on meanings as much as possible. Meanwhile, you have already requested all Bodhisattvas to be the witness and a guest, and you also brought along with you all your demonstrating beings, including parents, your children, your family members, everyone. And imagine that you are leading this practice and everyone is joining us. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. Gurus, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, please be heed to me. Just as the previous Buddhas have generated Mother Bodhichitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Buddhas of practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the Mother Bodhichitta, and Allah shall. Gurus, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, please be heed to me. Just as the previous Buddhas have generated the Mother Bodhichitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Buddhas of practices, likewise for the I will generate the mind of Bodhichitta, and Lavachala to successful train the Buddhist practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please be heed to me. Just as the previous Buddhas have generated the mind of Bodhichitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Buddhist practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of Bodhichitta, and Lavachala to successful train the Buddhist practices. Or you feel the joy of having received the explanation Bodhisattva vow, and let's commit ourselves that from today onwards I will try my best not to harm others, and if possible, to render services and benefit others. So with this in mind, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they are so happy and proud of you, what you did today, and this pride and happiness invoke the Vajra moon in a full-fledged form within their hearts, to multiply infinite number of times, like rain shower, they descend to merge with them and their visualize every heart, thereby becoming non-dual, stabilized, and blessed. Likewise, all the replicas of Vajra moon from the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, like rain shower, they descend and merge with the one that we visualize at the heart of a mother, at how the father, and how each one of the children, the family members, the beings here in the Dharamshala, in India, in your own country, in the entire world, the oceans, the wilderness, and the Milky Way galaxy, and the entire universe. Everyone, and the Vajra moon which you have so kindly shared is being blessed by the innumerable Vajra moons from all the Buddhas Bodhisattvas. Feel the joy of having received this Bodhisattva vow. So with this mind, let's turn to the next page, page 51, to be connected with this teaching on Bodhicitta in the future lifetimes, and also at that we be able to rigorously engage in the practice of the Bodhicitta emptiness in the future lifetimes. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassion Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious Bodhicittas even in the course of my life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassion Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious Bodhicittas even in the course of my life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassion Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious Bodhicittas even in the course of my life. In order to further increase this bodhicitta from now on, those with discernment who have lucidly seized or awakened mind of bodhicitta in this way should highly praise it in the following manner. Having well obtained this human existence, I've been born in the family of the Buddhas and now in one of the Buddha's children. Thus, whatever actions I do from now on, those must be in accord with the family. Never shall I disgrace or pollute this noble and unsullied race. Just like a blind man discovering a jewel in a heap of rubbish, likewise by some coincidence an awakened mind has been born within me. It is a supreme ambrosia that overcomes the sovereignty of death, is the inexhaustible treasure that eliminates all poverty in the world, is a supreme medicine that quells the world's disease, is a tree that shelters all beings wandering entitled on the path of conditioned existence. It is the universal bridge that leads to freedom from unhappy states of birth, is the dawning moon of the mind that dispels the torment of disturbing conceptions, is the great sun that finally removes the misty ignorance of the world, is the quintessential butter from the churn of the milk of Dharma. For all those guys traveling on the path of conditioned existence who wish to experience the bounties of happiness, this will satisfy them with joy and I shall place them in supreme bliss. Today, in the presence of all the protectors, and while the world to be guests at a festival of temporary and ultimate delight, may God's May gods, demigods, and all be joyful. I dedicate the merit thus gathered towards the realization of the decent prayers of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas for 3 times, and to the upholding of the doctrine of scripture and insight. May in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separate from the four wheels of the Mahāyāna vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path of renunciation, Bodhichitta, but into 2 stages. From my 2 collections, vast the space that I've amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose mind space and minds blinded by ignorance. Okay, Buddha Shakyamuni praise. The handout. Tage tuje shage riso cho shenge me to dege bonjombo serge lumbo tabo jebe go shaye gebo kyola cha tse lo oh mone mone Mahamona Swaha Om Mone Mone Mahamona Swaha Tage tuje shaye riso cho shenge me to dege bonjomba serge numbo tabo jebe go shage gebo kyola cha tse lo oh mone mone Mahamona Swaha Om Mone Mone Mahamona Swaha Tage tuje shage riso cho shenge me to dege bonjomba serge numbo tabo jebe go shaye gebo lo cha se lo oh mone mone Mahamona Swaha Om Mone Mone Mahamona Swaha Om Mone Mone Mahamona Swaha Om Mahāyāna Swaha. Om Mani Mani Mahāyāna Swaha. Om Mani Mani Mahāyāna Swaha. Okay, three processions together.